you live, baby lived 200 years, you come out, events to Fallout 4. So what the fuck, right?
Right.
Vault.
There we go.
Are you enjoying that wallpaper, sir? What are you doing? We're good? Are we back?
I think so. Let me check.
Oi, chat, make noises.
Chat, are we good?
Is there anyone even chatting at all?
We're back online. We're back live. Back on live. Okay.
Did someone say so? Did someone say so? That's what I'm wondering.
I'm checking myself. We're back live.
But you're not. Is anyone watching it as well?
Not at the moment. But there's one thing I want to.
Actually, we can still chat though. I mean, like I said,
there's one thing I wanted to mention.
3 hours.
When you do leave a vault like that and you're all alone, what do the first thing you do? You try to figure out what happened to everybody.
So maybe not me.
That seems like what I would do. I would like to try
a real life stance. We're talking about game mechanics.
In a real life stance, I would personally try to figure out.
I'm making sure I'm heart set on a defense of some sort, food and water.
Right.
And then I'll give a two
right,
shits
that's a given. You
on.
make sure that you can survive
because
yourself.
I don't want to go across any raiders.
But
get me a 10 miller or something.
Right.
Simple.
But
then I'm going to get my nose surgically plugged so I can't smell the dead bodies that my poor guy is stared at. And
either that or I'd be wearing a gas mask.
Smell.
I'm trying to find a functional gas
right?
mask. Yeah, but here's the thing. After that, that's a given. Make sure you can survive and be fine. But after that, I would try to figure out what happened so I can figure out what are the current problems of the Wasteland, so I can try to see what to look out for. And in this case, the Scorch Plague. In a normal situation, you see the Scorch Plague, so you try to avoid that or contracting it. Then you try to find a solution to it, which is the inoculation project, as stated before.
Which when you're done with the statement, I want to mention something about that. I don't want to interrupt you too much about it. I want to mention something about the concept over what actually happens and why I think the Scorch and the inoculation project didn't do anything. I wanted to let you finish what you're talking about first.
I'd like to hear it.
Okay. All right. So you know how we weren't pushed, like, go do it right now moment, but when the people came back, it was like, okay, well, now you need to get everyone to listen to you and make them want to do this, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Well, let's go back and talk about what the fuck, guys, when that actually happened, what was it? That was the only way to advance. Let's go talk about the fact that me and you, and the coincidental events that you come across Scorch and Scorch Beasts on the way to doing that already. Like, for example, let's talk about the one in Morgantown. What is the point of inoculating you as a player if the smoke that they swoosh down gives you the plague? Why do we get free reign, is what I'm saying. And screw the fact that Vault-Tec could genetically do shit to us, do whatever. You feed them some food and give them a bit of whatever, and they can be genetically different. We are the best and brightest of America, as they say. But why did we not get infected? But everyone else in Appalachia did or can.
But I think this
we did it, but like I said, it's for the sake of game mechanics.
Right.
It's weird, in my opinion.
But I think that's because
I battled 2 Scorch Beasts pre-inoculation because I was running idiots that did nuke zones all the time. And I still to this day think, why?
Yeah, true.
Why am I immune
to
it?
Like you mentioned before, Fallout 4. And this isn't really this is more of this is a video game that we, normally would play.
Relish mayo.
Would you play a game that personally, if you didn't get the vaccine in time, you got a disease that would fuck up your character, like, let's say it did the same thing like Nukashine, but in this case it would just end your game flat out right there, which would be an interesting concept.
Hold up now, buddy. Don't go making up shit that'll kill our characters because we contracted the Scorch Plague or something where it's a dysentery and parasite.
For people. Which is why I think you
struggle already with the dysentery and parasites. Don't make it worse for
me,
yeah. Please.
You have contracted the scorch plague. There is no cure. You will die.
Oh yeah, you'll die, and likely you'll die before even getting to Morgantown or even hearing about it as well. That's what makes it even more scary, is if you get it and it's real like the game makes it out to be, you'd be a scorched. Though you would actually get it if we're going to talk about the girl that I mentioned that became a scorched, and she logged everything in holotapes. She went like 7 or 8 holotapes you can get. That's from her in the attack, getting bit by a scorch. It bit her, like straight up bit her. So scorch are like zombies, I guess, technically. But then she found out what made them like that, and she went to hunt them. While being infected with the same exact thing as, if we would call it Z virus, the joke of zombie virus, this is basically that same scenario. She's infected. She knows she's infected, but she don't give a fuck. She just wants to avenge her house. Halfway through, she's like, I'm infected, probably not going to make it past this event, big event, going to die here now. You can have my house. If you actually are listening to this long, you can have my house. You can play them the holotape, they can hear it. But you'll have to kill it for me. 2 holotapes later, she's like, I'm still alive. But she's losing her sanity. She goes from, I'm still kicking, to she's logging all the effects of what it's like to become a scorch. And compiled from what we know, and from that story, it sounds fucking painful. Vesuvius in reverse. Vesuvius is the burning of your body from the outside in like a candle. Vesuvius in reverse is the scorch plague. That's what she says. That's actually a thing. You just catch fire and burn outside in.
Also,
your body will be charred as fuck, but your clothes.
I also want to mention the fact that when you have the scorched have green crystals growing out of their body. You think that's ultracite? Yeah. That's ultracite growing out of the body.
It's straight up because the scorched beast lives in glass caverns. The queen is a female reproductive creature, dubbed queen. She lives in a place where ultracite is actually man-made, though. The Ironclad talks about that as well a little bit, and the Brotherhood of Celiacs about it, needing it for the ultracite armor. It's made of whatever the nukes hit, kind of like nuked flora, nuked fauna. The ultracite veins were known by man, but no one remembers. But it became ultracite when it was nuked. And areas with I want to go back, and as we're talking about it, because we know you nuke and you can get ultracite from nuking locations. Let's go back and talk about the glowing sea for a minute. In Fallout 4, the location called Glowing Sea.
Yeah.
It was the true bombing of the whole franchise. We were dirty bombed in West Virginia, end of story, but let's just talk about Glowing Sea for a minute. Fallout 76 is the only one I can think of that's like, oh hey, there's ore, you can get coal and shit and do something with it, be productive. That's the only game that I can think of in the Fallout franchise that does that. Imagine ore in the Glowing Sea, where it's radiated all the time. It's like the crater that appeared in pre-Wastelanders that was so irradiated that it would kill your hazmat at level 50. That was fun to think of. That you could flatline your shit at level 50 just for going into that zone. Now it's not, obviously, but like I said, just imagine that for a minute. That means that if ultracite was a reg thing, you get what I'm saying? If you really, 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 really get it, that's some trippy shit if you ask me. Yeah. To think that the Glowing Sea could possibly contain a thing, it helps in a way. It would help. There's a lot of cool things we could talk about here, like how we have to, in Fallout 4 and a few other games, you had to manually reload your ammo of your turrets. But in 76, they stopped shooting. very possible 1,000 round reload, and they start shooting again. They're completely autonomous.
You know 20 how years much ago, that's pretty damn good. To craft if that was a thing. Oh shit!
Oh yeah, I would never get to use my handmade. I would never get to use my AK again.
My turret.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather just say screw it and use weapons instead, right?
But given that they fixed it, however, I want to mention, the turrets weren't that good. Given that it's fixed, I would use them. Me personally, I would say I would give it a roll. I may not load it up 1,000 rounds, so it says 1,000 rounds 5.56, but I probably would try to modify it to take something more simple like 38s or 308s.
But I also wanted to. You did bring up an interesting point for Fallout 4. The glowing sea was just a massive mess of just nothing but radiation. Like most of it.
Lots of
Most of the radiation around the Appalachia now has fallen out, but also the same thing with the Commonwealth. That's the literal term for it. But that place is still irradiated as fuck.
Yeah, Fallout 4.
For miles, too.
The glowing sea was called the glowing sea for the sea of radiation you could get yourself into and almost die on the way out.
If there was bloated glowing ones in Fallout 4, that's where they would all be.
No, fuck that shit. Get those fuckers out of here.
Charred feral ghouls are bad enough. I'm glad whatever happened, I would assume they went extinct because people kept killing the fuckers. And I understand why.
Booga booga.
Booga booga woo. But
are you even playing the game anymore?
I'm just watching my camera rotate around my character. But
yeah, don't let it rotate forever.
No.
It'll screw your shit up. Just want to mention that I had the outfit on. The Plague Doctor, and I was wearing the Plague Doctor mask and shit. And I was like, ooga booga. I'm like, wait a minute.
Crime.
There we go. Now I'm Vault-Tec ready. Stank.
But yeah,
you get it. But
it was very interesting. But the Institute,
the cringe.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to talk about. Was Nick Valentine. As you know, in Fallout 4, when you go into Diamond City, it's been shown that there is pure aggression towards synths. So why?
Hey, ghouls, don't forget ghouls.
Yeah, ghouls and synths.
Ghouls,
but
that's even canon. That's so canon that this is 20 years post bombs dropping, and people still hate ghouls. So,
but
I don't want to make a
they
racist
trust
joke.
Nick Valentine.
I'll get in trouble.
Who is a synth?
Yeah, because they don't know he's a synth. I don't think anyone knows he's a synth.
I think it's pretty obvious, the gray skin and all.
Like I said, if they know, they probably don't give a fuck.
But I think it's because he doesn't blend in as a human like normal, like the newer synths do.
Well, where does he look? Let's go back up for a minute and let's talk about where he is, where you meet him at. He's a synth, okay? By the time you know he's a synth, you know he's a synth. But let's talk about the fact that where you meet him is a half line in the sand location in the game called what? I believe it's Diamond City? Megaton, maybe? Line in the sand. They don't hate synths, but they don't like them either.
Right.
This location specifically hates a specific type of synth, the coursers.
Here's
ones that kill synths.
Right.
That look like people.
But here's
maybe
the thing.
Nick he was helping the city so much in the form of lore that when people found out he was a synth, they put their racism aside to let him stay because he did so much good for the city that no one gave a shit that he was a synth. He did so much good, they treated him as a human.
Right. But here's one thing I wanted to mention. The reason why they don't like synths so much is the consensus is fear that because they look so similar to human beings and sound so similar, they could literally take their place and replace them, which was the fear. Nick Valentine can't
You try to replace me and see what happens. That ain't gonna work too
right.
well.
But Nick Valentine can't necessarily do that. He's a early prototype for the Synths. He looks like a fucking robot. So they don't have a reason to...
Get him turrets! Get him turrets! My turrets just went ham on something. What Ooh. I had to turn my game volume up real quick. I'm still here.
But
my turrets just went ham on something, and I'm curious. I don't see no bodies. Oh, well. We'll just assume it's incinerated. Interesting. Oh god, oh god, no, fuck that. I forgot I took Aqua Boy off for the sake of natural resistance.
Ooh.
And everything around me is radiated. Oh, I know what they're shooting at. They're shooting at crab fuckers. Crabs. You need Mirelurk? There's a player nearby. He's doing dogwood dog off. That would explain the shooting of my turrets. Okay, what we're talking about again?
But also, but while I do,
Aqua Boy off.
Right. While I do understand that why they let him into Diamond City, I just do get that there's also there would be some edginess maybe in the back of people's minds about him being a synth.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the earliest kind of synth. He can't just replace people, but maybe something else might
do something of that nature too.
Right, he could hurt somebody.
Completely out of the.
But he doesn't. He's more of a detective for the people.
He could kill someone if he really wanted to. If he really wanted to.
I know that, but he doesn't.
But it's since a program with the topmost moral conscience and compass, something that is you don't just get immediately as a robot. What I say about William and his robots? AIs don't do what? They're not just created to serve man, but they can't hurt man. They can develop their own conscience and moral compass based off of programming and what they learn from humans. So the synths in the Institute, those synths learn. They're programmed to be as human as possible to do one thing. And this is why I think the synths were pretty good at what they did in the Institute. This is why I like the Institute. Imagine a young boy who stole away from his parents at an infant age. He never knows his parents. He knows you're there. He eventually finds out later on before you're released. But let's just say, for an example, he notices that 90% of the wasteland is dying off to whatever reason at this point. Let's say, for example, if he came to visit West Virginia and he saw how bad it was. Because obviously Boston's nothing's really going bad about Fallout 4 that would make him want to do this. But what would you do if I told you that the synth program could have actually been a repopulation measurement? Because all the humans are either infertile because of nuclear radiation, don't care, or already dead.
Right.
And the racism is just because people are doing the same thing, like you're blocked the butt, dad needs a job.
Right, there's a lot of conflict.
Jobs today or blood tomorrow.
There's a lot of conflict that you see.
Automation.
Right, there's a lot of conflict that you see against robots in here. But like I said, like you mentioned before, he could hurt somebody. Yeah, that's a given. That's an obvious thing. But he doesn't. He chooses.
The mayor of my little short town of Grafton. I wish he'd go away.
Right. But as I was saying, he chooses to reside in Diamond City as a detective. He helps the people.
Right.
That's his decision. He may not have been developed as an advanced synth, but he's more advanced.
He was Gen 1, wasn't he?
Right, but he's more. 1. But in my opinion,
the coursers are Gen 5.
Right.
And 6.
What I personally believe that he's more. His mind is more advanced than any of those synths will ever be, because the synths don't have a general conscience. He does, but they don't.
They do, kind of. Remember Paladin Dance? He was alive and he joined the Brothers.
Yeah, Paladin Dance is another example of that.
And had no clue until those missions came up. He didn't know.
But a lot of the synths are just coursers, though, that we see.
Fucking coursers, man.
I don't think they care about their life.
I think they need to let's talk about Kellogg's cereal. Well, let's go talk about Coarser brand chips. Those sound delicious, don't they? Not with 90% iron and wires. Coarser Lays, bro. Coarser
Kellogg
Lays.
was a fucking nut.
I kind of thought him as cereal. He sugarcoated everything to his death. He left his milk at home. That's why he took your
But what
kid.
I loved about Paladin Dance is when you approached him with the thought of killing him, he was up for it. He's like, I'm not gonna let this stop you. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna.
Because his programming didn't make him. First off, as you can also talk about other robots in our universe here. We can talk about self-aware AI for a minute. Let's talk about the Clarksburg shooting attendant. I'm not blind. I can tell there is something happening, but my programming keeps me here anyways.
Right.
So these robots, and Sense included in the robot category, are smart enough to know what's going on, even then before a human can, and make a cognitive decision of some sort. If it wasn't for the programming, that Mr. Andy that runs the shooting range would probably become a gutsy and do something for that town, not against the town as you see most robots do, because robots are not really good for humanity, but still, that's why I believe that these scents were made as a repopulation effort, not via sexual means at all. Don't go there.
I know
Scents
that.
don't have giant. They don't
Robots
have rocket
can't
launchers in there.
Technically, can't
but,
reproduce that way. But I do
they
get it.
can't
Though.
either. That's my point.
They can't.
It's a morning sun who's now in his like hundreds, missing family, and the concept of family is now kind of fucked up because of the way the game is when you play it. It's him and his great minds. They miss old world America, where families had white picket fence American dreams, and they were commie haters, supporting their everything all the way down to their dying wish. Like let's talk about the Great War. That's an American thing you do. When the world goes against America for war, Americans are more likely to grab their guns and say, I don't care what it's for, I'm going to do it because it's the patriotic thing to do. It's, God-fearing, patriotic civilians of Fallout 4, they're gone. And what aren't gone are losing their minds, becoming raiders or druggies or whatever. I believe that these synths were created to fill that emotional void that humans get when, for example, as you know, this is a topic I don't think a lot of people want to talk about much, but death is not easy. Dying in general is usually relatively simple. As you know, make a little joke there. It's easy to die, but it's not easy to be the one that's still living when the other one dies.
Right.
So that's why I think that this is a repopulation effort. It's a dying world it's the minds of dying men and women of great minds in science. Ones have higher caliber than the think tank DLC. What the fuck was that about? Really? But in the concept, they miss old war America that's now gone because of that. I would have done the same thing. Given here we are, and it's what if you take the free thing out, the players, the MMO, and it's just an RPG. I would want to do the same exact thing.
Right.
It's like everything else. I want to repopulate the world with something to fill my emotional void that humans are genetically created with. That's what makes us human. A beating heart and a brain that provides love and emotions and stimulations for such. Stimuli of emotions and pleasure, pain, discomfort, happiness, sadness, anger. Synths don't get those. They're programmed with it. But if you make a synth understand what humans are and what humans do, and stick them out there looking like another human that I think should already be dead. That would have been a perfect thing to do if, like I told you with William, and you know what he does straight up, the Project Mannequin. It's made to replace a lost loved one in the face of combat.
a wife, a husband, a kid that's serving, not like a kid that grabs a gun and decides, I'm going to help my dad, even though you probably shouldn't do that. We're talking about the Dust Bowl here. But this is made to, especially for the male, when the male goes to war, the female is left alone, married or not. She's left alone. Sometimes even pregnant. So he gets shot and killed, or something happens that causes him to expire and become deceased in action or MIA. That female's gonna, if she's pregnant, that baby is gonna be miscarried. If she finds out, it's gonna hurt her feelings so bad that the baby will die. And then everyone hates war. But if you think about all this, the mannequin is basically William's own creation of what I can joke about in saying a simp. It looks, the way the being looks and acts and functions is so close to the person that it's like, okay, your husband died in war, but we have you something that can help you cope with a dying. So you go, you stay strong, you have their funeral, and then you get the mannequin of your husband or wife that looks just like them. It'll act just like them. If you want to be pre-war, where the war that killed them, you can have them pre-done that way. It completely makes its own decisions, and William says these robots will be so heightened in technology and mindset that you cannot tell the difference. They even have a body heat, and they can even take medical stuff, marijuana, drugs, liquid, medications. They can get diseases. It's so. He said it's so real that it's like never losing him at all or them at all. It's made strictly for military personnel only. It's amazing. Some of it's classified. I can't tell you about all of it, but the concept, I love it. It's basically synth, and I think that would have been great in the Fallout lore if the synths only replaced people that were dead already. Now, we do know that there are people that got killed and replaced with the synth, and those were for testing purposes. And I keep going back to Fallout and Vault-Tec, for example. Vault-Tec is sinister. They're devilish even, but they're not sadists in a way, in the form of, let's make a robot that looks just like you, but come here for a minute, let me take you to the back alley so I can gut you like a fish and put that synth to literally take your place a second after meeting that synth. As not literally how it happens in the game, but that's pretty much it. You die so that synth can be you. That's where the synth hatred comes out. That's my nitpick about the game and the Institute. It's not a hatred. I'm not saying they're wrong, because I don't think there's anyone that's a diehard synth worshiper here, and I'm going to call it worshipping, because they're a faction, but they're not like, oh god, there's a faction like Railroad or the NCR or the, Garvey and the Minutemen, but there's the point. Only an hour and 19 minutes in. You need to find something to talk about, brown bite.
I don't think we're going to be doing a 3 hour, but I'm going to try to keep it going for at least a few more minutes, maybe 30 more.
But what? You don't want to... Okay.
We can, but I don't think it'll go that long.
Damn communist.
It don't bother me.
We can also talk about other things. We can talk about other things if you want. If you want to take a break, I understand that as well.
Right, but it don't bother me because I don't have to, have to directly upload this. It uploads itself.
These are our podcasts. That's what I'm saying. These are our podcasts, our videos, our live streams. We need to have something to talk about.
Right. And we have talked for quite a bit.
That's my issue here is...
But,
right, but an hour, though?
I never said I was ending it yet, but I wanted to talk about... So, like I mentioned, nuclear fallout. I want to go back to the glowing sea for a second. You think a super mutant with the FEV, I don't remember exactly his name, but he was a professor trying to, get an antidote.
He turned into a super mutant.
Right, he turned into a super mutant, and he asks you, but what I wonder is, if he's a super mutant, and this is gonna sound terrifying, but can he turn into a ghoul?
No, he cannot.
I mean,
only certain beings can be a ghoul. Only certain creatures can become Scorch, and you can't be a non-feral ghoul one day and become a super mutant the next. It's because FEV was mutations only, made by the Enclave, Project Purity, in Huntersville. Ghouls are a literal byproduct of prolonged radiation.
Right. But
like living in the glowing sea or on the outskirts, even living in the, we'll talk about this as a pre-data mine thing of Fallout 4, like pre-release of Fallout 4 was the Super Mutant Refugee Camp. It's on the little outskirts ring, barely in the glowing sea. Very much barely. You still get rads, but you wouldn't get like so many like you're standing in the middle of ground zero. So I personally believe, no, they can't become ghouls because FEV is programmed. And I'm going to go off and talk about, I'm going to go off the game real quick and walk around a bit. Because they're super mutants, they're mutated to not get that. They're not gonna. That's how it is. They're not gonna. That would be the same thing as saying Scorch gets irradiated, and all of a sudden just reverse engineers its plague into a ghoul. It becomes a CFG or hell, even worse,
right.
Something like poor old Mort.
But
that would, well, not worse. That'd probably be better if he turned into Mort, because Mort's he's a friendly ghoul. But could that be a possibility in future games? Maybe, because like I said, Fallout 76 is the only one they're going to make as new installments.
Right, the FEV is just a way of evolution. Right. I'm not saying turn from a super mutant into a ghoul, but if that super mutant stays in the radiation long enough, do you think he could lose his brains in the way of a ghoul? Maybe.
They already kind of lose their brains anyways.
Right, most of it.
Maybe in the way of a ghoul.
I wouldn't say they directly turn into a ghoul, though.
There. I know what you mean, lose their brains. I'm going to say no, but that is a good concept, because that is still, I'm not going to say a definite no. It's more of a no dot question.
Because they're still,
that is a good concept. No one talks about that.
They are super mutants.
Concept of mutants being friendly,
right?
As well,
right. And there's also ghouls being friendly as well.
There was the one yeah. So could it maybe?
Because
right now, no, not right now.
Right, I know. It doesn't happen here.
But once again, Fallout 76 isn't the last game in the franchise. I can already assure you that.
I'm thinking in real terms
here. There's no reason to stop at Fallout 4 either.
Right.
Civilization is being built right here in Fallout of
but
America.
I'm thinking.
So there's still Commonwealths they haven't even straight up covered yet.
Right. But I'm thinking in real terms here. If a super mutant like I think it's Virgil.
Bang bang.
But if
Virgil?
Yeah, if Virgil stayed out long enough, you think he could just not technically turn into a ghoul, but
he'd go bonkers.
Right.
Because radiation is literally used to fight cancer, yet it gives cancer.
Right.
So
in the form that a human would do the same thing as turn into a ghoul,
he'd go batshit crazy.
Since a mutant is still technically a human, but just super fucking evolved and shit via forced mutation.
But then what are you?
I'm a fat ass.
Close enough.
But you'd think the same effect would still happen because it's still a human brain, technically.
Yeah, but still, why is the quick mag still so small?
I feel
like my gun is so unbalanced right now.
I just think it'd be really terrifying to have a super mutant run like a ghoul.
Yeah. So you're talking about a ghoulish super mutant,
right?
Maybe a zombie,
like they've lost their brains, so they're just
a super mutant psycho. Maybe could be an early concept name.
Right.
For like the concept that they're batshit crazy, they're ghoulish almost.
A super mutant mush brain.
Like super mutant mashed potato.
But you know, like, it's an interesting concept. A lot of these things.
Egg scrambled. I've been scrambled like a scramble puzzle. You can't break this brain because it's already broken, sir.
Scrambled egg.
Are you talking to a tree? This is Stan Lee, the Deathclaw.
But you know,
he's a human.
In the way that they combine the Scorched with the ghouls, in the way that they charred feral ghoul, or at least in that sense.
That's not Scorched.
Okay, but it's still a new type of ghoul that we run into, and we don't find in Fallout 4, do we?
It's because it's only canon in 76.
Okay.
Charred feral ghouls cannot live long enough to make it to places like Eastern Commonwealth. Yes, I'm going to mention this as well. Like I said, there's Fallout 76 is not the last canon location to visit either. I continuously mention things like, I'm going to mention the mod, Fallout Miami. It's for Florida, Commonwealth of Florida. There's actually a map of the whole United States and their Commonwealth and what they're broken up in as that Commonwealth. So Fallout Miami is considered canon. And hell, well, not everyone, like the company's going to say it's not, but technically it is, if you really think about it. Because the Commonwealth that Florida falls under is the Southern Commonwealth, I believe. That's Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, and then one other, I can't remember which one other, Kansas maybe? Then there's the Eastern Commonwealth, which is Texas, up, and to the right. So that's everything of, Eastern Commonwealth, or not Eastern, Western. That's Texas and up to the right, or to the left, is the Western Commonwealth. And with the exception of the four-cornered state is the NCR. Then you have the Eastern Commonwealth, which is us, West Virginia. Then there's regular Virginia, Boston, so Massachusetts, D.C., Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, for God's sakes. Poor those poor Pennsylvanians. They're going to be making so much lead profit. Oh, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
I get it though.
But you get what I'm saying. The Commonwealth, in the form of a map of the United States, all of them have their struggles. All of them have their own creatures. But that would be like
also
having a CFG. Heaven forbid a CFG does leave West Virginia. Let's just imagine that for a minute. By some miracle, he makes it a long way away, and even engages with the NCR, the Brotherhood, or hell, even fucking Enclave at this point. Just imagine that, or imagine the Scorch Plague. Let's go a step down. I know it sounds weird. Let's go a step down. Let's say the Scorch Plague makes it to the NCR, and they're like, okay, the Legion can wait. Let's debate on whether or not to cure ourselves or give everyone else the Scorch Plague, so we won't have to worry about those fucking Legionnaires anymore. A tactical biological warfare advantage at this point. Come here, you fucking bat. Go pass on that. Okay.
There's two things I wanted to mention.
That? We have not been prepared. But the concept, though, that's why it's only canon 6.
And it's not too hard to say that the Scorch Plague would make it out of Appalachia. It's spreading like wild.
It has, though, technically.
Right. Because it's spreading like a wildfire in Appalachia already, so.
Given that bats are basically scorched beasts, and everywhere, the whole United States was bombed, all of it, not just a little bit, all of it was bombed, and what wasn't might as well have been, because nuclear fallout, nuclear winter. Oh God, the brutality of that winter was. So it wouldn't be too hard to say that Scorched Beasts could be canon in all Fallout games, but they stay in here because just the concept within itself Dear God, the concept of a scorch or a scorched beast leaving Appalachia just because it felt like it, and existing in a place such as Bar Harbor or Boston. Just imagine that. Let's just, okay, viewers as well, take it in the concept of the idea of a scorched beast leaving West Virginia, and pick your most favorite Fallout game and put that scorched beast unimpeded, going, like flying to that location. The amount of people and survivors that will die within the days, months, weeks, hell, even years to get to that location. Will Nuka-Cola, my blood's in it, we be able to produce enough of that to protect?
Oh, God.
And inoculate everybody? Honestly?
We run out of blood.
Because no, because once you make it that one time, if you remember the inoculation project through Nuka-Cola, it takes your blood sample once and puts it in a database.
Okay.
It lets you name it. Which is funny because there's no like insert name here. There's just a list of names that's like.
I'm really glad they didn't let us type our own name.
Nuka-Cola, my blood's in it. Oh yeah, I can imagine someone saying Nuka-Cola, my semen's in it.
Somebody would just say Nuka-Cola cock.
Or reference. Oh God, Nuka-Cola cock. It's 100% chicken.
You know, inappropriate people would do that. They put Nuka-Cola uwu.
Yeah, English. Nuka-Cola uwu. I'd drink that.
I would do that. Nuka-Cola uwu. Or Nuka-Cola Fosba.
Even more sinister. Less disgusting. Let's go a little bit more sinister. Nuka-Cola Vim. Nuka-Cola Red. The official drink of the Red Army. Nuka-Cola Red would be really funny because, communist Russia. Nuka-Cola, that was a thing. That was a thing in order to make buddies with a couple of the higher-ups in Russia. It's called Nuka-Cola Clear. It was a clear Nuka-Cola in a not noticeable Nuka-Cola bottle. He was even branded that way. But it was made for a higher-up general so he could enjoy Nuka-Cola while he was working for the Red Army. And, that would have got him killed if he had had a Nuka-Cola bottle because that's wrong in the Army's idea. But Nuka-Cola made a clear soda, same taste, just clear, and put it in a bottle that wouldn't get him in trouble. And hell, even put a red star cap on it. Could we actually do Nuka-Cola Vim then? Which is two different large companies making a child of pure incest and horror to sell to people. Nuka-Cola Vim, guaranteed cure you the scorch plague or money else. That's what I'm saying, though. Once you did your blood, it logged that data, so you could, in theory, just boop, 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 box after box after box, and you could put Sunset Sarsaparilla, Vim, other Coca-Cola or Coke companies to shame. I can imagine them looking back on it in post-war, current-day America. Nuka-Cola, my blood's in it. New live bottle. Oh, wow, they're making a couple million caps a day. Shit. Then they're going to push for it. But because West Virginia is the only one that has a cure, we stopped the COVID. If you want to call the scorch plague COVID, we provided a cure.
Oh my God! And then
Only
people would
West
have
Virginia
like Nuka-Cola COVID.
Representing this great nation with the best and brightest minds of Fault 76 stepping out upon the nation and giving a vaccine that ruffles your flavor and your taste buds, and the sensation of a cure and a great drink that you can enjoy in any state of this great nation. Crack open a Nuka-Cola vaccinated and help us rebuild and save this dying nation. There you go. That's a good commercial right there.
Yeah.
It's a little rap. It's a little freestyle rap about the drink and how West Virginia and Fallout, we're still the best and the brightest. I don't see anyone else saying, hey, look, there's a disease. Let's make a drink Now they're gonna make a chem, and they're gonna shove you full of it and hope it doesn't kill you. The idea of a soda becoming a vaccination, I don't think has existed yet. I know of other ways people in real life have done something like it, but it wasn't soda. That's my point.
God, just imagine how easy vaccinations would be if you didn't have to have a needle and just take a drink of this. Yeah. Oh my God.
Right, but you'd only be limited to one bottle. So if someone gets hooked on the flavor, not the vaccination, oh God. Hello, my name is Brombyte. I'm addicted to Nuka-Cola vaccinated.
But I imagine somebody, if we did allow the name,
like which part?
But I do imagine if somebody was able to name their own Nuka-Cola, they would eventually just be inappropriate and be like, Nuka-Cola COVID.
Why would it be COVID, though? I mean,
because,
honestly,
listen...
That is a possibility, but it's not cancerous and it doesn't hurt anybody. It's helping. So why would someone be so cruel? But at that point, you're right. You are
Some
correct.
people would just put the word COVID on anything. Like, they'll slap the word COVID somewhere.
Hey, it's because of that same immaturity that the company of Corona alcohol is probably going to go bankrupt and out of business because of people's immaturity.
Right.
You don't hear anyone say Budweiser COVID or Budweiser 19. I mean, why just Corona? Ignorance, stupidity, and a vice, almost. A vice, not vice. The concept we just hate it so much you would do anything to see them suffer. That's not vice. What is that called? My brain does not work right now. I'm watching Jinx climb onto the TV. Fruit bats are so interesting, Bromby. They're just there, and it's like every day is a new experience. I will climb this TV and then fall asleep as I do every day. But it's a term for I hate this so much or this person so much that I would do anything to make them hurt physically, emotionally, or financially. So, for example, the Corona company in the COVID-19 is called the coronavirus, for where it originated from. When someone did a commercial on that, throwing a little fake commercial about it, the cause, I'm like 90% sure they were aware of what it would do to the company and all those people who are now going to be homeless and jobless. And I also believe that they hated the company's branding just because they didn't like the flavor of, because they like Samuel Adams' Boston Lager or something like that more, or Summer Ale, or
They're also just blaming it for the name, but they didn't expect this shit to happen.
Right. They didn't care, but that's what I'm saying. The people who did it didn't care if they just had a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's not coincidental. It's hatred. It's not a coincidence. Oh, hey, that company got the word COVID, not COVID, but Corona on it. That's the reason. That's even the stupidest of the stupid would have to be shown that and give them a link to put together to say that that's a possibility, even though it wasn't. You have to guide someone stupid to do something like that. Even they're stupid, but they're not retarded. So once again, I think it's because certain people just hated the branding so much. Like, for example, advertisement, so much that they made it look like it's causing the disease, which provided a link of 2 and 2. This equals fish for the dumb ones. Just say that, oh God, I need to stop bringing my friends Corona beer and lime and shit over there because let me give them Lyme disease and COVID. Thus started I hope the people that did it understand that they caused a lot of people to basically cause people to become homeless, jobless, and will likely die because if it gets bad enough, because they worked for an alcohol company with the same name, coincidentally, as a disease. You know how bad that can get, Bromby? How dangerous people can get as a human species for shit like that? That's why I worry about my daughters and the shit that they, the way they are. I'm scared for them because human nature kind of
flatlines when it comes to coincidences and other shit. The media's like, oh yeah, the meteor's going to kill everybody. But hey, look, the COVID. Look at that. It's COVID. Oh my gosh, COVID. It's going to kill everybody. They made it sound like it was the fucking end of the world. And that meteor never hit Earth. There was no meteor.
They made it look like it was going to hit, but if you read the details, then
it wasn't.
There was a mention in the fine print, not directly up, but that it was like about the distance from the sun to the Earth. What?
Yeah, but they made it like something was going to impact tomorrow or some shit.
It's going to end the world. It could end civilization if it hits.
Hey, I know an astronomer, you know, and he was like, that's just media. That's why we don't talk to the media here at our house, Brown. That's why we shoot trespassing media official. They dare trespass on our land. It's not a warning, it's a shot. You get a vocal shot in the air, and if you don't leave, that next round's going to you. Because the media and their cameras are the work of a sadistic cult. The media is a cult at this point. Like I said, do you think it's truly a coincidence that something happens in the world and every media group covers it the day of or the day after, and none of them are on the same page or have the right same content like media is supposed to?
Oh no, it's not.
And some of them will even lie because they didn't go, and they'll take some batshit crazy guy with drugs and alcohol and ask for his opinion on it and make that their story. You think that's a coincidence? No, it's the media. That's what they're there to do. They're there to screw with us. I could never think of a time in American life where the media was good. The newspaper, maybe, but that's why the newspaper doesn't exist anymore, because the media has a monopoly on the freedom of press, or they will at least soon. I was talking to my daughters about that. I was teaching them because they're 18. They're not, you know, what they are, and I was trying to teach them the difference of rights and privileges. And I told them the media is a thing, but the freedom of speech and press. But when you talk about the media, they make it a privilege because they're exploiting their right to do so, getting it wrong, even sometimes on purpose to have it their way. They're egotistical, they're greedy, they're liars, they're thieves. Some of them are thieves, not all of them in the past. I'm talking about like past, present, and maybe future people. It's human nature. That's he said, she said gossip, but the world can see it, or only the whole country can see it.
It's so biased.
You know what I'm saying? They're biased too.
They're extremely
biased. The media
biased.
will make them.
The whole thing of media, I just replaced the word media with biased chat talk. And
oh yeah,
you've got a one-to-one.
They'll make everything racist all to hell too.
Yeah.
It's funny how you'll see someone talk about one thing, and then they'll get asked about racism or sexism or something. Then they'll give their fake spill about it, the right one to cause less controversy. But then they'll get on afterwards on Twitter, and they'll slander the person who asked them and make it sound like that person was being overkill, racist, sexist, and all of the above just for asking that question. Everything you can get offended by, religious, sex, and everything, was they took into massive offense because that one person asked a question. Because that's the media. It's he said, she said, but therefore I am God because I'm media, and I have the freedom and the right to press and speech. If you don't believe me, you're getting slandered or even hurt. I can talk about the media causing people blowing shit up so bad that people get killed for it. This is not in our country, of course, thank God. But I can talk about other countries that if you media members would talk about certain people, like, let's take, for example, a good form of a good person to look back on with these trying times in America is Martin Luther King and his march and his speech. Let's take all of that and let's go put it in another country where the laws are a bit more strict on media,
and certain things you do and say in the media can get you killed. Now, something like North Korea strict, but something less strict. Okay, now let's put him after the march, just straight to the speech. Camera gets him doing it in this country, and he gets shot right in the middle of his speech because he's talking about something that country, the media, or let's give him best case scenario, no one cares, and they do their speech, and he goes home. Instead of him getting shot by a sniper in a hotel, he's stabbed to death by a resident of that country in that location because that resident follows Hitler's book on Aryan race and robotic sexism or just put the most random shit you can that's the most offensive. And they kill him, not because he's black, not because anything, because the media made him look like a bad person. That's what I'm worried about, is the world getting to that point where at this point you're white or black, it doesn't matter what you are, what gender you are, what you stand for religiously or not, or what you do in life. I'm worried that one day the media is going to say, you're gonna change the laws and the freedoms and the rights to focus what we say them on, or we're gonna do this. And then what they say they're gonna do is a lot worse. And the social media helps them out. Like I talk about the riot. I know I said don't, but I'll just lightly talk about it here. But no one has a straight answer about any of it unless you were there and you were part of it. Okay? Well, we'll go back and talk about my sister for a little bit. She does a little bit of social media. Not often. She goes and looks. And someone contacted her when the riots were going on and asked her, as a schoolmate, I think, and asked her if she was going. She promptly and respectfully said no. I don't want to get caught up in any of it, in all caps. They called her racist because she didn't want to stand up for the rioting side. You're a cop-loving racist, and a bunch of other racial slurs and sexual slurs because she didn't want to join. That's media. In this day and age, if you say no anymore, I think a lot of people would rather grab a gun and shoot you, though, too. So, I worry. Can we tie any of this into Fallout?
No, I don't think we can.
This is a Wasteland Woundup. Wasteland Woundup.
Wasteland Woundup, we...
I blame the... Well, here, I got you a way to tie it in. I blame the media for 90% of the bullshit Bethesda had to deal with.
That too.
I blame the media for that. That's the media's fault. End of story. They had their issues, and here's what I think is weirder. All the YouTubers that talk about it, that are not pro, but they're not against Bethesda, are slandering the fact that they don't communicate. What happened last time they actually communicated? They got slandered socially on social media by another company like Game Informer because they communicated late or inaccurately. And this happened multiple times after it was all over. Oh, look, it's Bethesda, can't even communicate right. Yada yada this, yada yada that. I'd give up too. I'd just say fuck it and let them do their own thing. Because if you get the media and you put Bethesda in that statement, that article, it doesn't matter what the article's about. The second someone reads about the word Bethesda, they go up in arms and want to grab guns and want to shoot people because Bethesda's bad, according to that article. They didn't even read it. They just read to the word that the article is about Bethesda. Didn't matter if Todd gave a couple trillion dollars to cancer foundations to push along the usage and the inhabitants of curing people. They would have been like, oh, well, he did that for publicity. And the media would you're right, let's make a post about that. And if that actually happened, Todd would go to prison for manslaughter or some shit because the media said so. At this point, the media, and me and you've talked about it on other videos, the media's we've talked about the concept of what? Factual opinion is trumped or factual evidence is trumped by
popular opinion.
What was it? Something popular opinion. So popular opinion says Todd is white, therefore he is racist, and popular opinion says that's okay. It doesn't matter what the factual evidence says. It doesn't matter if he helps a bunch of white and black people or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's a bad person to them. And that's why we need to worry about the media. For me, and this comes from a couple of military things here and there, I do believe that the media needs to, and I'm going to say this as nicely as I can, and coming from a grandchild of a World War I and II vet, the media needs to shove all their everything in a mortar shell, shove their head up their own ass, climb on in, and launch themselves out. In other words, piss off. The media will intentionally screw lives up. The media could have you and I killed by taking what we're talking about right now if they wanted to, the media, cameras or otherwise, and they could do whatever they wanted to us, which could leave us to die, Bromby. And then they're going to say, well, you kind of did it to yourself because yada yada this and that. It doesn't play logically, and it is nowhere in any realm of possibility okay, but because the media is God right now with a lot of shit, you kind of get what I'm saying. It doesn't matter at that point. The media's like, well, he talked about Bethesda in a live stream. He needs to go to prison because from what I can read in this half-assed written article, Bethesda's a bunch of fill-in thing here. Whether it's true or not, I don't care. I want that dude to go to prison. You know, I think the media needs to leave. But the media is the reason why
the media
Bethesda
needs to either leave
is having so much issues.
The people that are actually fucking corrupt need to leave, and we need an honest source of fucking information here, people.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter whether or not
or half-ass this stuff. This is America. We're talking
about. It's bad enough that is true. But the media can literally screw over someone's life. Look at Pro Jared. People spread around a few rumors that were completely untrue. One of the things that was said, he admitted to being true, and it wasn't really all the worst thing on earth. But they made him out to be the worst person on the fucking earth, like maybe Adolf Hitler II, if you will.
Adolf already has successors. Now, can you go back and remind me about what that was said?
They were saying that he was soliciting nudes, which was true. He did.
Right.
But only to people who
come out and say it, right?
But only to people who were willing to join in on that experience, so he said.
Right, it's consensual. It's
a consensual thing. He never solicited it to minors. He asked for their age. They said they weren't 18. He mentioned that. And the rest of it, the cheating on his wife, that didn't happen. He mentioned prior that he wanted to break away. He had a wife. He wanted to break away from that relationship because that he wanted to leave. For whatever reason, he wanted to leave. She said no.
That was what they said about him, or what actually happened?
His wife disagreed to a divorce. Don't know how that's possible, but that's how it happened. So,
that means she's probably one of those what religion that they believe that once you marry, they take the words "till death do we part," and they max it out as much as they can.
But here's the most fucked up part.
So,
after that was spread, the first second that was word for spread, untrue or not, he lost 400,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
Those people who left him don't deserve to be on his list. let's back up from it there and talk about the boat again. YouTubers have to be in the same boat as we are. If you want to call it whatever you want to call it, the USS Friendship. Funny joke, but seriously, they're in the same boat we are. And their boat was given to them. They got the right to use this boat by the docking and shipbuilding company of YouTube. Okay? They're in the same scrutiny we are. But the one thing we can do, they cannot. They can't just throw something overboard because it don't work. In fact, I believe that the company of YouTube, in the form of a boat company,
Google,
puts their fingers behind their back, as Google crosses their fingers and says, "Yeah, you'll be all good." The people who left the crew, I'll call it cruise ship. YouTubers are like cruise lines. The captain is the person making the videos. Never, when the viewers are the people writing. Never once does that dictate whether or not that cruise ship is good or bad. It's the captain and the crew and how they make your experience out of the high seas feel. Was it worth all your money, or was it worth a little bit less of your money? Was it as Clover explains to me in complete French and attempts to translate to English, I'm using her analogy, practically. She's literally said this on YouTube, and this is her analogy. It does not, the viewers are the people writing, the cast and the captain, and the channel is the ship. And the captain is the person doing the videos, and the crew is whoever's helping him or her make their content. And any changes made to the channel are upgrades or little bitty cutouts for the ship that became outdated need to be changed. But the algorithm is YouTube and Google. The people that left his ship, per se, were biased. They picked to sail with media, the ship that gives you eye cancer, metaphorically, and causes you to go deaf, metaphorically, to everything about the world that is truth. But what did they say? What's always been said about the darkness over light? No matter how dark the darkness gets, it's just more. It just gives a bigger open window for the light to shine through. The media is a pirate ship, a modernized pirate ship with their guns with the words "We are truth" written on it. But they're just a guerrilla group of riled up idiots on boats, and they want your ship. His ship, still to me, even though I've never seen any of his videos, I don't care what happened to him. Those people jumped off his ship because they heard the guerrilla group say, well, this, and this happened. You don't know if it's true, but if you left, you're weak. You're yellow belly, you're spineless, and you make a veteran like me wish I had never served to protect you. That is such a miscarriage of justice, and it's pitiful from my standpoint and how America is. You people make America look like shit when y'all turn and do something like that. And I hope that your viewers are actually part of that. But if they are, like I said, that statement is for those who were part of the leaving, the biased leaving, not caring or not knowing if it's true, not willing to admit that you don't know it's true. I don't care. It's wrong. If it was you right now in his position, you would have wanted everyone to stick around you and push through. A captain is only good of his ship as good as the ship is and the people who help him use it. But when all the crew members can't hold a mutiny up because the people riding with this ship are causing problems such as bringing toxic grenades and firearms
because they feel like the media is right, and the media gave them these armaments to protect themselves against liars, you should probably be thinking twice about bringing that weapon around. If the media gave it to you, it's a lie. The media has never been accurate 100% of the time. In fact, they've only been accurate 20% of the time. That's pretty bad. And there's one thing I know the media can't deal with is William. He can't really push past him. He's had media members show up at his warehouse and place of business and then leave with their mouth practically sewn shut. Because he has an agreement you sign if you're media, that if you don't sign and still try to get in by not signing and trying to get your way into his business, you're treated like a loaded firearm and a drunk person. You might even get shot. He has guards that work at his place of business, does patrols that will shoot a media person if they're caught trying to climb the gate. They'll kill that person. They have legal right to do so. That's why you sign the waiver. You're sworn into a secrecy in a way. The agreement that you won't take any cameras. You might take a camera in, but you agree to not just post it as you go. Or by signing that waiver, you're bound to several different agreements. Several, man. I mean, the legal procedures that are on that paperwork, and you wonder why he only does bionics and robotics. That dude's bonkers when it comes to legal shit. He knows where the loopholes are, and he knows when someone's trying to exploit them. William is not a dumb man, and you know this yourself, Brown Boy. He is not stupid. He can catch you in a lie before you even say the lie. And he is no stranger to punishing people for being bad or wrong, no matter what it is. Whether it be physical punishment or a literal vocal scolding, or if he locks you in a little box that's just about as big for a human male and nothing else, and then he puts you there and says, I'm about to submerge you into darkness and water. He never does that. But you're in that box, so you know. It's just all it is. Media. Media is bad. And that's why I'm glad the media doesn't exist in the Fallout games. Maybe a couple paper companies, but I'm glad there's no run around camera. So what's your take on the nuclear fallout? Get the fuck off my campsite.
Yeah.
You know? That's what I'm going to be like. I'm going to say, you see the artillery piece over there, and you see this rocket launcher? Get the fuck off my campsite. You're no better. To me, in the concept of Fallout, media of any kind is no better than a band of raiders that want to do no more than rape you and give you their AIDS, or their AIDS be whatever the media stands for that's wrong. Knowingly wrong. They want to rape you in all of your holes and give you their AIDS of a truth, which is really lies, and they want to put people's names in their place. Nothing sickens me more than a person of any kind who wants to do something wrong and put someone else's name in their place of that story. You know, that's the best tactic the media has ever used to have people actually killed, committed murder through media. They use things like I'll go back and let's talk about the day I joked about being a Vault-Tec rep to a group of people in a Facebook group, and they immediately assumed I was a game dev. They went ham and was like, well, you're not on the list, and they didn't listen to the fact that I wear a Vault-Tec suit. It's a joke to the concept of a Vault-Tec rep and a possible jokingly builder of 76 in some mechanical part or science related. Kind of like joking to be the greeter of 76. It's just a joke of the what if one did survive. I would feel like to be it, because science and Vault-Tec. They went off and went ham and said, well, you're not a dev and yada yada this. But what did they do when they went to tell their story?
They put themselves in the place of other developers and made me look like the bad guy. But it turns out they were doing the same thing they were accusing me of doing. They were going around telling people to give up all of their inventory, everything, even if it can't be dropped. You give me all of your stuff in the name of the Brotherhood of Steel, or I and a bunch of people in Bethesda will wipe your account. That's how I met them. They did it to me, and I told them to piss off. A bunch of tin can Boy Scouts with deflated nuts, so you run around bullying people who have the bigger, more brain than you and more nuts than you. That's pretty much what that group does. Give me your shit or I'll wipe your account. I actually do a bit of government stuff on the side. You know this probably about how I feel about hacking. I did some really scary shit to one of them recently because he showed up again and was in their usual, quote unquote, usual rounds. But I went there to go visit, and I heard a Marriott chat telling a level. He was a younger boy, 10, 11, level 200, 300. He's been playing since a little bit after beta like us, but he's been working his butt off to get all the stuff he has. His brother, a still dude, shows up from that group and is like, this is a public service announcement from Bethesda Games, Bethesda Softworks, and by order of ZeniMax, you, sir, are required to drop everything you have, everything. We know if you don't, and if you don't, we'll erase your account. You will be probably banned permanently. And I showed up and said, by the power of the United States government, I have seized several documents within your name. I literally pulled out some actual documents. I called out his actual name. I called him by his name. He had no name listed on Microsoft. I said things only someone he knows IRL would know. And I said, you, sir, are no developer. You live at home with your mother, and I called out the street name for everyone over to hear. You're in your 50s, and you take great pride in putting on a set of power armor. You sit in the basement of your mom's house in your 50s, jobless, because you believe working for businesses in America is what pussies do. You mooch off your parents, and you also committed 3 felonies that if I push this button right now, you're getting swatted. He clammed up, and he started crying. And I said, now you drop all of your shit, or I will have you arrested on several felony charges, including the murder of your wife. And I said the same thing William said to one dude during a bar fight. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You'll still burn like the rest of us. You look down upon every other mortal soul like you are God, yet I am the Grim Reaper, and I am eternal. You know what he did, Bromby? He said, fuck you. You know nothing about me. 5 minutes later, across his microphone, FBI open up. He got arrested. He's spending his life in federal prison for the murder of his wife, tax evasion, tax fraud. He killed his neighbor's dog and then killed his neighbor when the neighbor found out through acid decomposition. He had a lot of illegal substances in his house. And actually, long story short, he killed his mom, too. So he could, because she was apparently going to kick him out. He confessed to that one straight up. He's like, just so you know, I killed my mom because she wanted to kick me out of the house. They found so much drug in him. You know, it was really saddening, though. And it was I actually will say that out loud, I enjoyed watching him cry when he found out that I knew something about him that only people around him would barely even know. It made me happy because here is a guy older than I am being so childish because of affection. And as the Brotherhood of Steel crumbled before the might of Vault 111 and the Survivor, it took one weak link being too ballsy for the faction to cause the entire faction to crumble. After he was federally arrested,
the account of every single member of that group was seized, and a lot of them were punished in some degree of manslaughter, attempted murder, hacking, online harassment, and a few other things that would land them life in prison. And depending on how they get arrested or how they get caught and taken in, could get them to death sentence depending on how they respond. For example, like fighting or trying to hide or something, or pulling out a firearm, whatever. These people that joined that Brotherhood of Steel group that I used to be in only joined it because they felt like they could do something wrong and get away with it. It's sickening. That's why I don't join factions anymore. Hey, Brian, want to come see something cool? You want to see something cool? It's really neat. It's really neat. You can live right next door to me and not even have to live anywhere else. You can get a view of my house. Want to come stalk me, please?
What the fuck?
I'll consent to it. It's a hell of a view. Apparently, it's some kind of jet turbine. It's a Nukashan spawn as well.
If I can throw my
which
camp
makes
up in there, by all means, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. It's a Nukashan spot, if I recall correctly. What do you mean dehydration? Life as a Vault-Tec rep is hard.
Life in Fallout is hard. I made jokes about this before, but as soon as you walk out that fucking vault, you clench on your there's no wonder you ate all the food and fucking drank all the water. As soon as you walk at the vault, your stomach starts eating itself, and your lips are drier than a goddamn desert. And you're like just clambering on the floor, like as soon as you walk out, water, food, water, food.
Poor guy.
Seriously.
It's hard, man. It is though. It's hard though.
If you've ever heard of this, it's like Terraria.
Wait. Yeah. If you can drop your camper, drop it. I don't think you can, but you can do it.
Oh my god.
You got it? Yee! I'm gonna go check out for the bar next. I don't know if you remember that location. You probably weren't here when that happened, did you? That's where I got my two-shot dragon from. Two-shot explosive dragon was from that location. It was a little bar that was pre-built in the Wasteland at the same item shop looking items as well. It wasn't far from that spot. Oh, it's funny how that is too. If you look right here, there's a ramp lift right here with a hinge joint, like it would lift something up of a door, a bunker, right near where you live. So that's pretty neat to look at and think of what could it have been. But I'm going to go look around your area, because around here, somewhere in this whole area, there's a pre-made bar and one of those little tents that are open on the stilts. I'll be ecstatic if we find it. That'll be our new meeting place if it's still here. Look at there, Bromby. What do you want to call that? What's your new camp going to be called? Overseer's Peak, maybe? We can make our little radio tower for a lot of our viewings and stuff. I don't know. Something super sleazy, super creative.
I'm gonna call it the Hiker's Reward, because that's what you're
Hikers.
The Hiker's Reward.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what you're rewarded with when you join this group and do stuff with it. You get to enjoy the view. So my reward is to enjoy the view up here. So.
Stuck out.
The Hiker's
Look,
Reward.
there's a cow. Oh wait, that's your cow. Moo.
Oh, moo cow.
Moo. Your cow looks about as dry as my lips.
You think I'd be assed out, but no. Actually, I'm just got.
Bromby, your cow looks about as dry as my lips are right now.
But actually, I'm not really that tired. I got a shit ton of sunburns though.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
They do. I'm putting on aloe gel as we speak.
Look at the walkway goes. I mean, hell, this is pre-built for the sake of, I guess, electricity. There's a wire that goes down the hill, and I have yet to figure out where it goes to. But if you look where the pylons are, right here, it looks like it goes downhill into something. I don't know what it goes to yet. actually stops right here. It stops right here for no reason whatsoever. Does that link anything? Can you link anything down here? Can you use that? They're actually living pylons, which is even weird. So what would that go to? This is so weird. I love it. The reward is almost godlike and within itself, because you have to see shit, but all you gotta do is explore. Right? That's all you gotta do. Nom, nom, nom. Don't you start yawning too, Jinx. She's having a yawning fit too, and every time she does it, I want to yawn. Stop that. Boop. Boop. Fruit bats, man. They're hilarious. It's like, why are you booping me? Also, you might have more people show up at your camp as well.
That's
mention
fine.
This is a Nukashan spawn, but that's if someone still drinks Nukashan. I just want to mention it is a Nukashan spawn. Oh, it's a candle. That's a candle. That's pretty cute. That looks like clover snot. The best candle in America.
But,
Cures all ills, and it looks good for burning. Stanley! It's Stanley the Deathclaw. Pat.
You want to keep going for another hour, or do you want to cut off this episode?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want, right? It's 8 o'clock for me.
I'm still able to chat, so it's whatever you think.
Right. I want to keep it going. At least 30 more minutes. 2 hours, 30 minutes is a pretty good amount of time. So, there's one thing I wanted to...
Go ahead.
I'm going to talk about this. So, I got to meet my, one of my, what's a half-cousin-ish? His name is Austin.
You don't have half-cousin.
But,
You're fat.
I know I'm fat, and I have so many skinny family members. I'm like, ah!
Well, it's a you thing, isn't it?
Right.
Unless it's genetic.
I bear my own burden. I bear my own burden.
It's whatever. I'm not judging.
Right. I don't mind the noises. I'm
I'll
squirting
be
out.
damned if I find a scorched up here.
Totally not.
I'll be damned if I find another scorched up here. That's a possum. I'm not having aneurysm.
But I'm putting
I'm having a
Allo-Gel
fucking
on my sunburn.
aneurysm. It never fails. You move your camp and there's a scorch or something out there looking at you like us.
It's
Shock,
like,
right?
I'm gonna shoot that.
I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm if I see it. I could have sworn I saw Scorch, Wanderer, or Conqueror. I'm gonna get a perimeter sweep now.
But
I'm gonna read so goddamn loud. It's gonna die when it hears my battle cry.
Hello, Scorch. Just look like you got one hell of a mad sunburn. Here, let me help you with that with some SPF 20,000.
But what you hear, Jinx? What you hear? She perked her ears up and she's like, I hear a thing.
I don't think there's a whole lot that feels better than having a sunburn that hurts so bad then you put aloe gel on it. It's like, huh.
It got that feel like you were burning up and you got into some cold water maybe.
And then you put on aloe gel and it's like it just relieves itself. But it's short-lived.
Right. Oh yeah, it'll hurt. It'll hurt. That's what you get for getting sunburned, stupid. That's what happens when you get sunburned. It's gonna hurt. It's basically your skin drying out, cracking. And hell, I heard, I don't quite believe it completely, but from what I'm currently sort of aware of, and I'll have to ask my wife when she wakes up about it, from what I'm aware of, sunburns can cause a form of cancer. Skin cancer.
If you get too many
It's basically your skin. It's basically skin cancer, but so minor that it doesn't stay and spread.
You could also get sun poisoning.
Oh God, yeah. Too much vitamin D.
Yeah,
Need some vitamin V, man.
My half cousin, I was talking to him there, and he mentioned he got sun poisoning and he told me to feel his skin. Apparently that shit basically takes the form of multiple cuts over wherever the affected area is, and it's...
Yeah, because your skin shrivels up, that's why it makes you flake. He didn't get enough vitamin V, he had too much vitamin D.
Ha!
Oh well, I know exactly what he's talking about. That's some bad shit. Because sunburns are basically kind of like, in a way, it's a mild form of cancer. Kind of like freckles, are a blemish that primarily form because of sun. That's why, certain people in the world get more freckles. While my wife from Sydney, Australia, has a shit ton of freckles in all parts of her body, besides the ones that have scars because, jellyfish. But it's because of sun. With brown speckles. Yeah, and looking at her in her bikini for the first time in a long time gone by, you really get a gist of how bad the scarring was for those two jellyfish incidences. And it wasn't just the one either. You get stung by a jellyfish, some of them will leave scars. Man of war and box jellyfish both leave scars that almost are permanent. We were only in our teens when that happened. We were in our 20s, and she still got it, and she's probably never going to go away because of the amount of regular jellyfish left. One jellyfish even wraps itself around the victim to poke it with simultaneously needles. The barb that makes it poisonous is on the whole tentacle. The box jellyfish will quite literally box you in with the tentacles and then simultaneously poke you with all of them while you scar. The man of war is just that for one reason. It's just a fighting jellyfish. I don't even know anymore. I kind of was always, before those incidents, I believe the jellyfish were not harmless, but they weren't in control. Like, oh, look, a person, I'm going to go sting it. It was more tidal. With those days with the Emperor, I've hated a creature so much in my entire life because it pretends to be tidal only, where it doesn't have a brain to move on its own. And it does that on purpose. Never hated a sea life as much as I have when that happened. It was like, what the fuck do?
Right. We mentioned before. A few videos ago. We mentioned a fear of the ocean. There's a reason for it. It's not irrational by any means.
Drain the ocean. Can we just drain the ocean, please?
Or can we take all the creatures out of it, please?
No, fuck that. Then you'll have a fear of darkness in the ocean.
But that's better than...
People that fear the ocean, some people who have a phobia of the ocean have a fear of the sea life. Me and Amber have a fear of the sea life in the ocean. Some people won't get in the ocean because they can't see down in it.
Oh, believe me,
if you take all the shit out,
they would say that.
If you take everything out of the ocean, if you take all the shit out of the ocean and leave the water and the darkness, a lot of people will start riots because there's no life in the ocean, yet they're scared of the darkness that lurks underneath.
But now picture this. Tell me it wouldn't make their fears worse.
Smack that ass.
If they could see through the ocean and see all the shit that's down in there, all of the different creatures that are just... Oh, God.
Seeing all the sharks next to a ship.
Yeah,
you were
the sharks, the
like
whales,
10,
the fucking snails, and all of it. Yeah, I know.
What's wrong with you? I have a phobia of marine biology. I'm so scared of the ocean that I want to nuke it and evaporate it. Why? Sharks. They're everywhere,
Why?
man. There's sea life. Sea life.
Why? Sharks, whales, snails, dolphins, killer dolphins, fucking killer whales, orcas, all that shit. These things are 10 times bigger than me. They will eat me in a second. Extinguish them.
Picks picks up piranha and flips it around like a damn limp dildo. Like, look, it's a piranha. It'll kill you. It's small. Dude just goes, bah, shoots himself. Okay. You have fun with that. That's how you mess with people's phobias. But don't ever play with people's phobias. Ever. If you told Amber that she had to get into the ocean or something bad will happen to her, she'd kill you. She'd kill you. She'd go so batshit crazy from the concept of swimming with jellyfish or elves that she'd kill everybody that's involved. She wouldn't be able to cognate the fact that it's there to get over your fear and fix your phobia or anything. It would drive her so mad that she would be hurting and or killing people, because it just scares her that much. If you told me I had to go swim with sharks to get over my phobia of sharks, I'm throwing your ass in the water, in the shark tank. Have fun. You better believe what you said about the sharks not wanting to hurt you, buddy, because you're going to be swimming with them until someone helps you out. I'll just chunk it in. Bye. Fuck you. See you later. I'm not getting in that water. I don't care how nice that shark has been known to be for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's old as fuck. I don't care. So my luck would be the second I put a foot in there, I'm getting drugged and ate. And I will not leave my wife and kids. Because something stupid as someone said that shark won't kill me. And that shark kills me.
That's just a general consensus with, well...
Dude, sharks, you have a right to fear a shark. Sharks have been used to commit murder, so...
Oh, yeah. But also, not to mention,
right.
just wild animals in
throw
general.
His ass in a body.
It's
shark.
Wild animals in general. You ever see someone, like, have a pet constrictor snake?
No, fuck that. Nope.
Wow.
We had a snake and Alizada.
You could never... Yeah. I'd rather that, because you could never trust something like that not to fucking do something.
Do something by snakes like I will when you go to sleep.
What the fuck are you doing? Your ass is mine.
That snake's like, I'm gonna lick you, and I'm gonna eat you because I want to, and you can't stop me because I'm a fucking snake.
Oh look, your snake's eating my finger, but oh my god, it fucking hurts.
Well,
at least it's just the finger starts going for the entire hand. Wait, no. It's like, what? Oh, the snake's like, what? You'd rather just... I know you'd rather it be your hand than something else. It's like, yep, you're right. Proceed.
Proceed to eat penis? Is that what you're saying, bro?
Proceed to eat hand. Don't take my genitalia.
Well, I don't think snakes can be gay, so at least you're good there.
But some animals wouldn't see it like that. They just fucking eat every part of your body.
Poor snake. You can't eat your nuts. The snake's like, it's overbearing, like my parents.
It's like, well, dinner is dinner.
I wouldn't see it like that personally.
I mean, you got to think animals do one thing.
Well, how about this? Let's back up to the concept of cannibalism. That's not going to be something on my list of to-dos.
No, but some animals don't think that way. They're just like food, meat.
Look, food. Signed up a Scores 360 neck snap as you're trying to be quiet as walking the force.
Food is food. When they have to survive, they
right.
put that kind of shit aside. They're like, well, this is a piece of meat. I can eat it, and it will let me live. You know.
Survival, right? I guess. Survival of the fittest. Isn't that what they call it, though?
Right.
That still scares
Even if
me
it
to
may
think
be a
that
little
something lives.
Disturbing. You know, survival is survival.
Hey, snake, suck my dick for survival.
Oh, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more like, if I'm doing that...
Legs. Good job.
If I'm doing that, I'm going to eat your entire body for the next 3 weeks.
Or be like the Anaconda in the Anaconda movie and swallow a human being and not finish him until like 2 months. I know I'm a CGI snake, but I eat slowly. I will never watch that movie again.
But no,
Please do not watch that movie if you have a fear of snakes.
Fuck off.
The snake was thousands of years old or something.
But I wasn't trying to. I wasn't
in the jungle. Gives me the.
I wasn't trying to make that into a snake be gay moment. I was just making it like, animals don't look at it like, oh, that's a penis. They just look at it. That's food. I'm not wrong though. They're like.
Kate's like, what?
They just look at it like a snake's gonna eat a rat, the whole thing, in one bite.
Well, because a rat is almost bite-sized. Even for people, rats are bite-sized.
Right.
But
it doesn't matter. A snake will eat anything it can get its hands on, just like a shark.
Hey, Bromby, okay, this is going to be a really bad joke about snakes. Get ready. Okay, so Viper invited Cobra and a few other guys, or a few other snakes, to a tea party. Okay? 2 humans show up. They show their identification and say, we're snakes too. Can you take a wild guess and see if you can figure out who those individuals are and why they got let into the party of snakes? Okay, go back and think. This is a worldwide party. Every snake in the world is at this party. 2 of them are humans. Why did they get let in?
This is going to be a long.
It's a really bad.
This is going to be a stretch.
It's a bad joke. It's a riddle. It's a riddle and a joke.
This is going to be a stretch.
It's a riddle and a joke.
Is it their long schlong? No?
Nope. Metal Gear Solid. Introducing Snake.
Okay, Solid Snake. Solid Snake, Big Boss.
Cobra, the Cobra organization from G.I. Joe.
Oh my god.
Cobra.
That's good.
Operation Cobra.
That's good.
And they got let in because they're technically snakes. You can catch Project Viper as well if you wanted to do that. Operation Cobra and Project Viper was another, I think, game or the organization that was quite literally, I think it was Japanese or something like that, kind of like Mortal Kombat was,
but this
in a way. And that individual literally, life with snakes, I guess.
Right.
They use venom to kill people. Haha, Venom got invited to that party too then if we're talking about snakes, because symbiotes, Venom, no.
But this is a word of the wise. If somebody tells you that your fears are rational, like snakes, sharks, ocean, whatever it be,
smack.
Tell them to fuck off.
They're irrational or they're rational?
That they're irrational.
They just don't have the balls to experience it the way you do.
Fuck off. Yeah, they don't. They need to fuck off if they can't accept you. Accept the fact that you're afraid of a fucking shark that's like 10 tons heavier than you.
It could be worse. We could be fighting actual real life forms of a death claw, and
we could also be fighting whales on legs.
I've been more worried about the fucking rad scorpions in this game.
Oh god,
that's a
rad scorpions.
Thing. No, rad scorpions can be real IRL, no radiation needed. There's the Goliath bird eater is the world's biggest spider. There is a really big ass scorpion that is still alive in this world, untouched by man, unbothered by man, because it will eat your whole hand, and it has enough poison to be considered biological warfare. If you get stung, you will die. And trying to treat it will make it worse. He is huge. Not red scorpion huge, but he's pretty close. It makes the Emperor, the Black Emperor scorpion, look like a tiny jumping spider.
Oh god. But
I've even heard of this scorpion attacking and killing executioner wasps as well, for fun. Not even to eat, for sport. So that's pretty damning right there.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the possibility.
Here's something to think about, and this is what I'm gonna tell you about this.
Penis.
Did you know that some of those tarantulas don't have that bad of venom, but their bites are extremely fucking painful?
Oh yeah, I'd imagine they could break they could a tooth bite off of you.
But the venom isn't really the thing that kills things. Usually they could just break a fucking thing's neck.
I found a blood eagle group.
Nice. I'm coming. But
I found a bunch of bitches. I'm gonna shoot them.
If you have a phobia, such as spiders or something, I'm not gonna knock you for it, because I understand. Oh. Like I said, I had a terrible fear of bees to the point to where I just walk inside if I saw one.
They were fighting Scourge. They're fighting Scourge. He had gold ore. Pieces of shit. That's mine now. Aw. Never mind. I know why the fuckers are over here. They were guarding a junk extractor, and that one looks like Clover. What the fuck? That one looks oddly like Clover. No, I'm gonna wake her up and send her a picture of that shit. Clover, I found you on Fallout. Blood eagle queers trying to look like Clover. It's a scent. Now it looks less like Clover. Terrible. Simply awful. Yeah. That's a junk extractor, though. For I don't know what reason it's been destroyed, but I just saw the red tent. I was like, okay. Or not tent, but from a distance, that little red thing looked like a tent, but it wasn't a tent. It just looked like a tent. I feel proud of myself for doing that. No NPC should ever get their right to look like Clover. Just no. Ooh, is there a cult settlement over there? Probably any binoculars or a scope.
Let me see. I might actually.
Do you have your stash? Get your tent. Let me get my tent real quick. I want to go. Hey, look, you could actually put this down and see what kind of ore it was. That's nice. So I can actually guesstimate what kind of ore that is by putting it down like titanium.
Nice.
I just picked that up just now. Like titanium ore deposit. You can actually put your tent down here on it and bust away that stuff. Go get me my sniper rifle. From here, my hunting rifle. That's all I use it for at this point is scoping the enemy. I know scope.
No.
Literally, no scope. I'll no scope you. I don't need scopes to kill anything.
Scoped.
No 360s here. It's nothing but net. Don't need a scope to beat you in that bat. Sucks for you. You catch radiation like a magnet. Get me and my guns without scopes. We take your girlfriend. They'd rather have it with me and not with you. Ring-a-ding Benny. He just don't even want to be with me either. Oh well. It's his fault, not mine, I guess. I guess, because I'm from Vault 76, I'm better than all the rest. Engineered, designed, and created to be the best of the best and the brightest of America. So when you get a bullet in your chest at a 50 cal with the word 76 on it, you should know you've been put down by the best and the brightest. We're better than all the rest. Hey. I see something. Oh, excuse you, ma'am.
Excuse me?
No meaning by. Let's do this concept for a minute. Broadsider, but it shoots mini nukes.
Oh! That would be amazing, but I
do see a occultist heaven right there. Huh. Okay. Can you just see that far? No. You want to borrow my rifle so you can see it?
Sure.
You probably been to that one already. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to let you give it back when you're done.
Okay.
Trade. Look over there in the distance, okay? So, look like north, northwest, like mid between north. Like, north should be a quarter of the way from being off your compass. I mean, it looks like a giant-ass tree poking up over there, kind of out of the blue. Take the rifle and look through the rifle scope. It's on the mountainside. Like, way on the mountainside. Like I said, you can kind of tell the trees are kind of displaced. Keep going up, up. You should kind of be looking at the way back ridges. Do you see it?
Huh.
You should be facing the actual mountain that's before us. You can kind of see it, though, can't you? It's weird, ain't it? It's a cultist settlement on my map, but when you look at it from a distance, that's the Clancy Manor. From all the way over here, it looks like a tiny outpost. You can also use that scope to see what's down the crash vertibot if you look hard enough. Because down there is the greens.
But I see that. Actually, I haven't discovered that location. Take this.
I cannot.
Oh.
Damn it.
You need me to drop it?
Drop it. Make sure you drop it on the rock. Drop it on the rock.
Okay. Dropping it on the rock.
Or drop something that can go away first, if anything.
I
love mining rifle. That's all it's good. All it's good for at this point. The scoping. The scoping up and shit up, right?
Right.
Rabbi, that stone went up your ass. Did it hurt?
No. But this is probably gonna. I'm gonna go discover that location real quick, though.
Ever been to Clancy Rider?
Apparently not.
It's the second biggest cult in the entire game. I'll go. I'm behind you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm behind you as you run off, just like you do in 7 days, man. Just like you do. Follow 76, the 7 days to die rule set plays in. So basically, if you merge the two games.
Yeah.
Give me spawn up there. I'll spawn up there and save you the time of walking. Or we can just follow the backpacker code of conduct or not.
Right.
And walk. It's not like, what, 8 o'clock, 13 for me. I'm getting kind of sleepy, though.
Right. I'm going to go, considering that, I'm going to go ahead and, we had a pretty good broadcast, though. We didn't...
Yeah.
It only crashed once. You don't know how many times I've actually crashed, and I'm like, okay, duh.
Wait. Oh. We're right up on that location.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's right down the hill from us. That's part of it, I think. If I recall correctly, we're walking... Clancy Manor is right here. But then, what's up there, then? What? Where were we when we jumped off that mountain? So that's what I'm worried about. That's Clancy Manor. Go visit if you want.
Okay.
You're at risk. It's very dangerous. I'm going to try to find that spot we scoped out that I thought was Clancy Manor.
Okay.
I don't see anything yet. I'm starting to think that was a mind trick.
Maybe.
Please be careful.
I am.
You're in the second biggest cultist hub settlement in the entire fucking game. You ran past like 4 of them, and they know you exist.
Right.
So
I'm fighting them. They're not.
I'm killing the shit outside, so they don't butt fuck you though.
Well, level 4 is. They won't butt fuck me too hard. Hello, you want shotgun to face? There we go.
Yes, Daddy, please. Yes, Daddy, I want shotgun to face. Yes, please. Headshots, yes. Anyone who wants some headshots on the day's serving on the menu is lead. It stings almost as bad as words that will put you in your bed. Down and out for the count. 76 engraved on your head. Don't deny us, don't walk by us. We're 76 born and bred. I think I just hit you instead. Whoops. At least that rhymed.
I just realized I did.
Taking off headshots. Make the helmet on your head ring. It was over the Great War, and you still didn't know what we would bring. But you held a handbasket through time and high water. Yet the only thing you're going to be begging for us is something that's not even a barter. across the path of a 76 Vault-Tec rep, and you might just be tossed aside like cannon fodder.
Pop enough of headshots. Shots full of.
I'm doing more than headshots. I just shot that person in the shoulder. Their arm should have fell off. Are you trying to aim for me? He's trying to fight you. He doesn't even care about the sniper. Well, now everyone should be like, "Oh God, sniper!" And they're like, "Oh look,
like, oh God, you got a shotgun."
Representing Vault 6, maybe not as an overseer, a little bit downgraded, but you can still take your place and be here. Sucks for you. You're a Vault-Tec. You're a Vault-Tec resident. I'm a Vault-Tec rep. All these perk cards still in their pack. I got more pep in my step.
So I've now discovered this location, Clancy Manor.
Yay! How do you feel? I just walked up to an effigy and was asking you that question. God, I'm tired. Is it nap time yet?
But on that note, we had a good stream.
Marijuana.
I'd like to do another one soon. But thank you guys for being here on this stream, and thank you guys if anybody was watching, or if anybody is watching the replay. Thank you for.
All right, cultists, give me your fucking kidneys. I am your Mothman god. Break forth your blood and kidneys. Oh, there's no one in here. Huh? It's about as empty as it was since the Great War. Okay, I see what it is. Just pulls out a shirt, untucked shirt, and scoops food into it. I see how it is. Take all your
I'm shoplifting, but why? It's empty. Oh.
I'll take my chances.
I'll take my chances. Continues to shovel food and shirt.
You got beer. I'm happy.
But
totally not drunk science at this point.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna end the stream off here. I'll see you guys in the next one.
I found a holotape called Chapter